Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Now, we just got done listening to a very interesting group of music that had nothing to do with each other than the fact the bands got in contact with me about checking out their music. And boy, we had a wild ride. But now we're going to do what we do most weekends and check out some music that's suggested by you guys. Today's is from Death Wish. Says that they'd like me to check out Deadlights' Sugarcoated Psychosis, an Australian post-hardcore band that is criminally underrated. Alright, well, post-hardcore is something that I think I like. What I think post-hardcore is something I find nice to listen to. Pleasant is the word. I'm expecting some clean poppy vocals. I'm expecting some, definitely some heavy sections and probably a breakdown. But I'm also learning that I don't think I know anything about genres. So let's see what we got going on here. Deadlights, Sugarcoated Psychosis. Very interesting rhythmic ideas going on. So I do think this is in 4, but the drums are giving me a 3 feel because of the way they're accenting things. Yeah. Oh. Even better. I love how the chorus carried over into the verse. Beautiful. As usual, just key into that cymbal and you'll find the beat. I love that background harmony scream. Nice stop. There is a lot of stuff between these choruses. Yeah, I like how he puts the highest note in the run in the middle. He always comes down from it to finish the phrasing. Yes. Gave him a lot of room to make that vocal part punchy. love those cleans, ohs at the end. It was like an octave higher. I'm not gonna try to hit those notes. But the guitarist who's doing the clean vocals was dropping some nice O's in the background. Um, yeah, I dug that. I don't know if it's something I would go out of my way to check out. It's just a little heavier than I tend to listen to casually, but there are some really cool things going on in it. So let's get into that. First of all, I love how the first chorus extended into the second verse. Not only just because it's very unusual to let ideas kind of slide around like that, just kind of ooze out of their restrained or constrained boxes and overlap into other ideas, but also because it was one of the few moments where we got to hear the cleans of the backup singer with the harshes of the main singer, and I think they sound very good together. I'm a sucker for that texture, anyways. I love hearing the crackles of the fries with beautiful chest cleans. It is just a good sound to my ears. I don't know why, but I love that combination of textures. It's so good. So for that to occur in an instance of uh, I don't even know what you would call it. It's like section bleed, right? We have the verse, the chorus bleeding over into the verse, um, but done in a way that can be done live. Usually, when we hear stuff like that, it might be just one note being held out, or maybe the final word is sung on the first bar of the next section. But it's all done with the like a single singer, right? So it's more of it turns into like a one beat backing track sort of idea. And you can do it live, but then you get different timbres because you're gonna have a different singer doing it. Maybe one of your guitarist, your drummer, or something. So for them to sort of bake in an extra 2 bars of the chorus into the verse and have, and be able to do that live because they're already using two vocalists, it's just a combination of a lot of cool things, sort of supporting an idea that I already love, and that just came together phenomenally for me. I loved it. Um, what was another section? Oh, there are quite a few ideas, rhythmic ideas in here that I really loved. And a lot of it was about creating space for whatever they felt was most important at the time. I think the most prominent point of this, when I mentioned it, when it really stuck out to me, it was in the final section where we had the heavy rhythmic elements in both the drums and the guitars, um, and then he was sort of rapping in his fry scream that the singer was, um, and there were a couple of lines, well, phrases I should say. There were a couple of phrases that I think the guitars and bass cut out, and the drums sort of suppressed themselves a bit. They were still dropping a beat, but they didn't have any of their crazy, genty accents. It was more about just kind of keeping the time at that point, and the space really opened up. I mean, the rest of the instruments dropped down, cut out entirely, and then the drum really backed away from the spotlight. And it allowed the vocals, who up until this point had kind of been pushed into the mix because they don't have the higher range that you would normally be able to isolate in the mix and kind of give levity. The range that those vocals are coming out in, plus the distortion, really put them in line with a lot of the guitar work, and it sort of begins to sound sort of similar as far as tone and pitch go. And it's a very good sound, I suppose, if you're going for that. I've mentioned before that I like my vocals to have a little bit more spotlight, but it is a prominent sound in hardcore and metal, so I'm not going to detract any points for it. It's just a personal thing. I prefer my vocals to have a little bit more prominence. But being that they are down in the mix, instead of using the mix to bring them up to elevate those specific words that they really want to get through, they cut the band out and really provide the space for those words to punch through. And they do this a handful of times at the end, two or three, I guess. And I really like that because, first of all, it allows the song to breathe. There is a lot of rhythmic ideas going on in the guitar and drum work, and it can get a little exhausting over time. We have the two choruses to kind of back off and enter more of chord based riffing, but um, at the same time, the choruses are very far apart, and they are such a small portion of the song where a lot of the rest of it is ends up being heavy with rhythmic ideas. So it can be exhausting to a lot of people. So it provides a little bit of gap for the listener to kind of catch their breath, but also opens up the room for the vocals to really punch through with those ideas that they find important. I love it. It is beautiful. It's well done. Those sections are just gorgeous. I don't remember what section it was, but I mentioned some really good rhythmic synergy. Almost everything in the song is that I really enjoyed was rhythmically done. I can't say that there's a lot of really interesting harmonic or chordal stuff going on. Maybe there is, but it's hidden within the distortion and rhythmic elements, and I couldn't pick it up. But there's the rhythmic elements are just all over the place, and it provides a sort of scatterbrained idea going on, especially when you look at the core verse pattern. Maybe it was definitely in the intro. I don't know if it took over into the verse as well, but it took me a while to figure out we were in 4/4. You really got to listen to the hi-hat and the guitars to figure that out because the drums are accenting some weird things. Like we're getting a nice 4 phrase, but then we move into like 2-3 phrases, so we end up accenting beat 4 of the second bar and beat 3 of the third bar, and it makes it feel like it's in 3. But then he does this weird, I don't know, it's like a 5 or 6 beat phrase idea to kind of bring it all back together back into 4, but also he like grace accents into the 5th bar where we would have our repeat to bring the pattern back around. And there's just a lot of wild things going on in the drum as far as accenting specific beats, and it is not lining up with anything we typically do in 4/4, and it feels extremely chaotic. You really have to hone in on what I think is the uh, splash cymbal. It's the one on the right that he was hitting, and that's where he's typically holding down the 4. It's not in the snare, it's not in the bass, it's in the cymbal work. Which we've actually seen a lot in djent bands and more progressive bands that utilize weird time signatures or weird polymeter in time signatures, really modulating stuff up. And they tend to gravitate towards putting uh, the time signature in cymbals, which I find intriguing because cymbals are usually, for me, what I've grew up on listening to, mainstream rock and like entry level mainstream metal, kind of lightly getting into that growing up. Cymbals are more of your embellishment, your color. That's how you color your lines. Whereas your snare and bass is going to be where the beat lives. They're the big thumpy ones. That's your heartbeat. Why is your heart beating in like these weird arrhythmic ideas? So yeah, it's been an interesting journey to see so many drummers put the core rhythm, the core beat inside of cymbals. But yes, it's happening here again. Um, but yeah, that intro is just wild, very chaotic, and it sort of jumps back and forth between the chaos of the rhythmic elements and sort of that poppy chorus where we kind of find some sustainability, some solid ground to sit on as far as beat and rhythm and accenting and really trying to figure out where one is. um so yeah, it's really cool that they go back and forth. Also, I don't know what happened between chorus 1 and 2. A lot happened. It was There was definitely a portion that felt like verse one, but then we went into something that almost felt like a bridge. And I was honestly at the point where I was like, maybe the clean section wasn't a chorus and this is going to be more like a rhapsody. But then we brought the chorus back. Um, so that was very cool. We don't see that very often where we have lots of fluid idea movement between choruses. Usually, if you're going to stick with verse, chorus, you're gonna have two verses, two chorus, and you alternate between them to start the song. You're not going to do a lot of crazy things in verse two, and I like how they were very experimental with that. I think that one's it. Oh, I do want to point out the clean vocalist. I pointed out that I really like how his runs don't end on high notes, and he almost kind of rarely holds them out. It's more of an exclamation point in the middle of a phrase. Sort of a staccato note that he just kind of hits, pulls off, and then comes back down and finishes out the phrase. Almost like if we had brought it down half an octave or maybe like a third or something occasionally. I think at the end we were even hitting some larger jumps. If we brought it back down, it wouldn't even really be any sort of focus of the line. It would just kind of fit right in, and it's only the gap between the notes around it and itself, the large gap that we go to, jump into that note and bring it back down, that really makes it stand out. And that's really interesting. Like I said, instead of kind of punctuating your note and putting it at the end, bam, here's my high note, I'm holding it out or whatever. He puts it in the middle, sort of like like an exclamation point in the middle of a sentence. It's very interesting. It doesn't belong there in like traditional melody writing. But it's definitely ear catching. It's ear catching. Anybody catch things with their ears? That's a dumb phrase. Eye catching's kind of dumb too when you think about it. But yes, it is very ear catching. It stands out to me in as far as melody writing goes. It is a very interesting choice. And then just to kind of hear him pull it off so many times in one song, just those constant leaps and to come back down, very impressive. All right, that wraps this one up. That was Deadlights, Sugarcoated Psychosis. Definitely check them out if you enjoyed that. I might check out another track, but if it's anything like this, it's definitely a bit on the heavier end for me. I enjoy many elements of them. I would not turn them off if they were on, but it's not something I'm going to be able to listen to a whole album of back to back. It's just a little too heavy for me. But the clean sections were gorgeous, and I love how they juxtapose and add contrast. I love how the screams, the heavier sections, the rhythmic sections add contrast and juxtapose what's going on in the two choruses where we had some really beautiful harmony and clean singing. So yeah, this is where you guys come in though. I gave you my thoughts. Hit me up with yours. Drop some comments, what you enjoyed about it, what you didn't enjoy about it. If you're going to be checking out anything more of them, if you've heard of them before or not, let me know. Above that's a description box with some links adjacent to the channel if you're interested in checking out the Patreon or the Discord server, blocked videos, all sorts of stuff. Just go ahead and check it out. I'm also going to link something. No, I'm not. That's what I was saying for last week, since we were getting some more unknown bands. Yeah, there's links adjacent to the channel down there though. And then like, subscribe, and a bell to ring if you are interested in any of that. They help out the channel. So if you don't mind, I would appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, 10 p.m. UTC, with another special selection. And then Monday starts special selection week, first week of the month. So we're going to check out 5 more special selections. And then, as usual, the weekend after is 2 more. So, as we tend to do the first week of the month, we get 9 special selections out of the way, which is good. We don't have any solid theme tying everything together, but we do get through the special selection list, and the faster we do that, the faster I can reopen it, and I know there are people itching to add their requests. So, with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for that, and the day after, and the day after, and the day after. Hopefully. I like to be part of people's lives every day, I guess. Why else would I release a video every day? Oh man, usual rambling. Can't just do the thing, Brian. All right. You guys stay safe out there. Keep being awesome. And have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.